Welcome to the first session of Design United's conference, Small Measures, Great Impact. The speakers for this session are Goy Zhenru, Principal of Goy Architects, Singapore, Realrid Sajaref of Raw Architecture, Indonesia, and the team of 8 at Compartment S4, a collaborative from India. This session is being compared by Saakshi Chawla, a student from India, and moderated by architects Vaishnavi Shukla from Ahmedabad, India, and Huzefa Harun from Karachi, Pakistan. Architect Goy Zhenru, Principal of Goy Architects, Singapore, who believes in a close collaboration with traditional craftsmen and artisans to develop new and unique building materials.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us so early this morning. And thank you, Design United, for organizing this conference. It's an honor being invited to such an inspiring lineup of speakers and kicking off this conference. It's still very early in the morning, and I hope that we can share with you guys with some of the design journey that we have been through. And I'm looking forward to the design discussion panels with the other speakers as well, hopefully. But first, I would like to share a little bit with you guys about our team and our philosophy. I'm Zhenru. I'm the Singapore lead at Goy Architects, and Desi is based in Bali. She's our Indonesian lead in Indonesia. Kulap, which is Sam, she's based in Chiang Mai, and she's our Thailand lead. So we are 3 architects working together in 3 different countries across Southeast Asia. So we have this vision that our geography and our physical distance would present no obstacles for us working together, especially in this digital era that we are living in. I met Desi and Sam in Singapore as we are working in the same firm prior to Goy Architects. We always had this discussion about our work and our life, and as female working professionals in the field of architecture. As much as they enjoy working in Singapore, they had plans to return back to their home countries to be closer to their family and friends. So this is when we started to have this idea of a flexible office where we could work from wherever we are, and we would arrange our work around our lives. So to start off the day, we would have a morning call to start off our day, and this would usually involve updating the respective project status, design reviews, and construction progress. And as we have our data and documents fully operating on a cloud-based system, this would allow us to be able to access the file wherever we are, keeping us mobile in our design processes. So just to have an idea for you guys is that we are using mainly building information modeling. So this is BIM, and we are using ArchiCAD as our software. And this would allow us to sync our 3D model simultaneously as we work together across 3 countries. And all this would be actually accessible via a BIM cloud server. So the idea is that at any time, the whole team would have a holistic view of our projects. So as for our design reviews, we use a design digital online platform called Miro. It acts as a virtual real-time whiteboard and pinboard that could allow us to drop all our design iteration and have an open discussion with each other. So the idea is to create a digital work environment that simulates us being together, just as if we were at the same place at the same time. Yeah. So this is how we'll usually put up our digital papers on the online platforms. And then what we'll do is we'll really annotate, draw together, as well as put in notes about how we want to change the plans. So what I really want to share with everybody is that this technology, or this use of technology, allows us to communicate with each other as a team. And also as builders, as we are able to share this information simultaneously, giving everybody a guided vision of how the final project would look like. And through this constant engagement, I find that it also brings together many different stakeholders into the projects, from clients, designers, builders, as well as craftsperson. And with this engagement, I find that it brings out more personal fulfillment from all parties, And I feel that is a very interesting mindset whereby everybody could come together to work creatively together. And it's no longer a traditional mindset that everybody has to be physically together in one fixed location. So why is this important for us, having this flexibility? The idea is that having this flexibility in different countries, it allows us to create meaningful projects across Southeast Asia that have an impact on the community and the wider society. We would also take this opportunity to reach out to smaller local handcrafts industries to see how we can closely collaborate with the regional craftspeople and manufacturers to produce interesting products for our projects. So this regional approach allows us to cross-pollinate our ideas, influenced by our respective social contexts, as well as our built environment, and learn from the traditional methods and vernacular crafts that are in our region. There are such rich and diverse culture and history, and so many inspiring crafts from artisans whose works can only be found in this region. That's why I feel that we are missing representation of Southeast Asia architecture in the international stage. And being architects in Southeast Asia, we felt that we have this responsibility and obligation to showcase this vernacular beauty and design language of our region. Pre-COVID days, what we'll do is that we'll arrange for trips in the region, sourcing and meeting up with manufacturers, craftsmen, and local designers. And we will collect a lot of material samples throughout our travels in Southeast Asia. And these are often reminders of the possibilities and all the craftsmen's skills and knowledge throughout this region. Having a flexible workflow also allows us to discover new things as we go out into our surrounding environment, to see, to touch, to feel, and to experience, and to communicate with the craftsperson directly. We find that we are better designers when we are in touch with what is in the locale around us. And by experiencing new things, to talk to craftspeople with different people, we are able to understand different ways of working. And often we find this inspiration for our work. This is an example of a project that is an ongoing project that we are doing. So what we are trying to do is to integrate crafts of tiles in Chiang Mai, and we are trying to create a custom tile set for our client in Singapore. We are working together with the second generation tile maker in Chiang Mai so that we can integrate more regional handicraft works into our interiors. With this light shaft, this lift shaft, what we wanted to create is to create this light spectrum that is coming through this main lift shaft of this building. And we wanted to select a material that has a shine and a glaze on it. So this is actually a pearl glaze texture that can only be found in this manufacturing plant. And what we did is that we wanted to create something a little bit more unique for the profile. So what we did as a study is to, if you can look over here at our mural board, is to come up with different sketches of how we can actually chamfer or tilt the tiles so that it can have a different profile to the surface. And when the light shines on it, it will also give a kind of a shimmer to the overall effect. And usually this is our process whereby we will first do a sketch, and then subsequently we will do up a more detailed drawing, and we will send it over to the craftsperson in Chiang Mai. So Sam is based in Chiang Mai, that's why she can speak directly to the craftsperson. And we would then go to the manufacturing factory to look at this different making of the tiles. And hopefully by the end of the day, we are able to choose certain tiles to be shipped back to wherever our project is. And this will introduce another layer of a regional texture into our interior space. Some other experiments that we did was also to do with glazing of tiles. So this is a experimental kind of a direction that we're going, whereby we tried to do painting. And through the paintings, we are trying to abstract certain colors to form glazed tiles. So this is in collaboration with Philip Lickman's Ceramics, who is based in Bali. And we are still working collaboratively with them so far there's no products yet, but we are still working. So I think some of the samples over here will be something like that. So we will be like seeing how we could be applying it to our projects in Singapore or in wherever we have. The other one, which is having able to be very close to cement and tiles production as well. This is actually a production tile in Jogja. So what we did is that we went down to the factory itself and we specified a specific color for the Sukasantai Farm Stays project. And it's a very enlightening process because you are able to see exactly what is happening, what's the materials that's being used, as well as how they are actually made. So I find that when you have this direct connection with the craftsperson, it really gives a different kind of a texture and warmth to the materials that you are putting into the interior. So not only with tiles and ceramics, we are also looking at furniture production. So through our flexible time and as well as our working arrangements, we usually organize visits to manufacturing factories in Indonesia as well as in Chiang Mai. So we will be looking at the different rattan production as well as timber production. And from there, we are able to learn directly from the manufacturers what is a more feasible way of making furniture, or what is the things that we should be looking out for when doing certain types of furniture. And I find that this is very enlightening as well as very inspiring for us as designers. So these are some of the examples or some of the work in progress samples that we are doing with one of the Yogyakarta factory manufacturers. And usually we'll go down and if let's say we can't go down on site, we'll usually communicate via WhatsApp and we'll mark up on our mobile devices and we'll send them our instructions or to have a discussion of how we want to go ahead. One of the examples that we did is for one of our projects in Singapore, which is called Shitsukokoro. So we design half of the furniture. Some of them we bought it directly from designers itself, and we find that the ability to curate certain details as well as to curate certain pieces of furniture together would give us a stronger control of the interior, of how we want the mood to feel like. And of course, the craftsmen having this individual pieces crafted for your homes really gives something special for the homeowners as well. So apart from looking at furnitures, we are also constantly looking at scavenging materials like reclaimed windows. And this is a project that we did for the Heng House, whereby the client has affiliation or affinity for Southeast Asian crafts and craftsmanship. So she really likes this idea of upcycling. And what we did was we proposed to her that we could look at the different windows that was originally reclaimed from Javanese houses and to see how we could actually place them into the interiors. I'll share with you now the construction process of the Heng House. And these are just some of the snippets and shots of the reclaimed windows that when they were on site. As much as we tried to control the proportions, a lot of the windows fitting has to be adjusted on site because of the slight site variation. And as you can see, this is the final effect. We try to reuse the windows as windows, not just as a facade decoration. So we really make use of them and we put in the hinges and we try to use them as real windows. And the effect of it is amazing. Having this texture of vernacular texture onto this new modern building really gives a sense of warmth as well as a sense of history to a place. And we really enjoyed doing this project for the Heng House. As you can see, it's really a very simple interior with just the accentuation on the reclaimed windows as the main feature of the building. Okay. So over this surprisingly, it's close to 5 years now. We are still relatively a very young firm, but we are very happy that we have done projects ranging from an industrial building to organic farm stay to interior projects as well as private houses. So these are some of the collections of the projects that we have done so far in our journey. And today in particular, I will focus on just one project, which is the Sukasantai farm stay. So the very funny story was that initially we didn't intend to start a business or a formal practice. It is when a friend was asking us to develop this vegetable organic farm stay in Sukasantai, we thought that maybe we could work on it for 6 months, and then after that we can find employment later. But 6 months turns to 5 years, and we are still working on various projects, and we are very happy to do so. So Sukasantai is actually a farm stay, a small farm stay in the rural area of Sukabumi. And this is approximately about 2.5 drive from Jakarta. This 10-hectare site is located at the foot of Mount Gede. So Mount Gede is this mountain that you see over there. It presents itself an altitude of 1,000 meters above sea level, and the site enjoys a cool ambient temperature between a low of 15 degrees to a high of 28 degrees. The combination of a cool mountain air and its fertile soil serves to be an ideal place for farming activities. At a young age, the family would travel from Jakarta to Sukabumi during the weekends, to be close to nature. So the clients also have fond memories of catching bugs, observing rice paddy fields, hiking down Bamboo Valley, which is a very stark difference from the urban fabric in Jakarta city. So before the family purchased this land in the early 1990s, the site has been used mainly for conventional farming. So in attempt to revitalize the land, they would plant over 500 different fruit trees of many different varieties like avocado, banana, nutmeg, longan. And this fruits was intentionally left unharvested so that the local animals could come, like civet cats and squirrels, can find food, and restarting this biodiversity in this area. So since then, after they did all this planting of fruit trees, they have seen an increase a number of predatory animals like the Java eagles and much other bigger animals on site. So the family discovered the joy of growing and tasting their own produce, but it was not until about 6 years ago, whereby my friend was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, when there was a rude awakening to question the quality of food consumption and the use of pesticides on conventional farming methods, and how it is affecting the quality of the land and also the health of the consumers. So since then, the family started to grow organic, initially for their own family consumption, but whenever there was excess in the harvest, they would share it with their family and friends in Jakarta. In recent years, the home enterprise has grown, and they have set up an online platform, a storefront, and an organic vegetables home deliveries in Jakarta. So what they do is they even conduct teaching workshops on organic vegetables and running urban gardens. Their Instagram IG is called Rosy Veggie, so you can take a look at it as well. And for those who are living in Jakarta or joining us in Indonesia, you can give them a try to order some of the fresh organic vegetables. So apart from this organic produce, the family saw much more potential in Sukabumi. They have a vision to revitalize and redevelop the land such that it supports local community development in an environmentally sustainable way, and creating different fair trade jobs for locals that are economically viable and environmentally beneficial for the land. So this is why they have kicked off this vision by developing a farm stay to encourage the awareness of organic farming and celebrating the simple joys of nature. So in this project, we are guided by two beautiful Indonesian words, one which is suka, meaning to like, and the other is santai, meaning to relax. So together, Sukasantai means to enjoy relaxing, to take things slowly, and to be in the moment. This was one of the ethos of the farm stay, Sukasantai. When I first approached the site, I was stoked by the soothing quality of the landscape. There was a small ravine, which is below here, which is fringed with the Bamboo Valley, And Mount Gede sits at the top of the site, while the lower level features the farm and the surrounding hills. Architecturally, I wanted to create something that is very calm and a simple form that frames the existing landscape both internally and externally. The brief was to create an accommodation stay for up to 30-person capacity with a communal kitchen, dining area, workshop for organic farming classes, and the key concept was to encourage visitors to slow down and retreat back to nature. So, to reduce the occasional noise generated by the small road, which is over here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but we orientate the building away from the from the road, sorry. And we face together all this residential, all these houses away to the gentle sloping terrain that was fringed with beautiful lush bamboo valley. So this is the upper tier, this is the lower tier, this is where the communal kitchen is. This is the original villa that the family used to come back to. So we stagger the massing in 3 different tiers, conceptually forming an elongated T shape. And this presents 2 courtyard spaces for the upper and the lower accommodation tiers. So this is actually the upper accommodation tiers, whereby we have 8 number of rooms. And this is where the lower accommodation tiers is, whereby we have 4 rooms and each facing views into the nature from their living space. So this is one of the interiors that is within the house itself, whereby we created a quad room so that the kids could come up there. And this is one of like the most popular and hot rooms available in the Sukasantai farm stay. And this is actually the heart and soul of the farm stay. It has an open communal kitchen and self-serving dining concept. Then what we want to do is to encourage guests to harvest their own vegetables and prepare their own meals in the kitchen. What we did is that for the overall organization of the Sukasantai, we used the existing mature trees to inform us of the extent of the building structure. So if you look at this small little tree over here, this was planted in the 1990s, and it has grown into this big, beautiful form over here. So by framing the existing mature trees, the guests can enjoy a panorama view of the landscape, whether they are indoors or outdoors. So these are just some of the views that is kind of framed within the interiors. We wanted the guests to have a view of Mount Gede, as well as this big Dharma trees, which actually indicate where we should end our building. So all this was the building form, and the extent of the building form was all informed by the site itself. And this is a view looking into the farm so that when people would have a direct connection with the farm as well. Okay. Part of the beauty of the site is that it experienced rainy seasons and features heavy thunderstorm and occasional mountain fog. Architecture and landscape design has to address the stormwater and humidity management, keeping the space naturally ventilated and protected from the heavy rainfall. By creating large and low eaves, designing without gutters, functionally it serves to reduce mosquito breeding. Aesthetically, it acts as a rain curtains during very heavy thunderstorm. So the groundwater is then, by slowing down the groundwater, is a landscape strategy that is essential for us to prevent washing off of soil nutrients. So we have all this to capture the rainfall that is coming. And the rainwater is then channeled by a mini river into a fish pond with gravity-fed sediment filler. This natural biosphere is then connected to a water reservoir, which is used for farm irrigation. I think one of the biggest satisfaction on working on this project is to see the positive response from all the guests from this farm, seeing that they're using this space to slow down, to take time with their family and their friends without the use of internet. And we are very happy to encourage the next generation of farmers in Indonesia.
I